It's been already 12 years since the very first Czech startup accelerator began its work with emerging entrepreneurs in the Czech Republic. And with no surprise, it was here in Brno. But the public support of innovative companies reaches much further, at least to 2003 when JIC was established. Kiwi.com, Webnote, Vysoft. I guess that there is no need to introduce these startup stars that were born in Brno basements and university dorms. Hanka has been around at the beginnings of many startups. She led the accelerator, the StarCube, and helped many projects in their very first stages of their existence. If you haven't met her during making your first business plan, I guess that you probably know her as the voice of GIC Talk. Hanka will also be your guide through the most promising Brno region startups of 2022. So Hanka, it's yours now.
Thank
Enjoy
you so
it.
much. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you are full of energy for another part of today's program. In the pitching session that is to be followed right now, we would like to have a showcase of startups from Brno region that live by this conference's motto, sustainability as a business opportunity. They come from very diverse backgrounds, they serve very different markets, and their projects are in various stages of business life cycle. What they do have in common is an idea or a product where sustainability represents a core value for their customer. And also that we see them as possible future startup stars of Brno region. Today you will see 5 presentations, 5 startups, and our panel of experts will provide not only feedback and advice for them, but also a broader perspective on each topic for you. Because in the end, it will be you who will choose the winner of today's session. So, I encourage you to pay close attention to this stage for the next 90 minutes, because we want to know who was best in persuading you about their business potential and selling their vision. These 5 startups are prepared in backstage, I hope, at least they are prepared in backstage. And each will have 5 minutes to pitch, and then there will be 10 minutes for our experts, our expert panel to ask follow-up questions and give their feedback. I will be the timekeeper and I will be strict, so there will be no more time than that. I encourage you, because it's extremely challenging to stand up in front of hundreds of strange people, let's face it, who are experts in their fields, and to show what you have already done or show what you want to do. So please encourage them with your applause, please be kind audience and help them in today's pitch session. Before we welcome the first startup on stage, let me briefly introduce our panel of experts. She is an award-winning business professional with 20 years of international experience in sales, marketing, and mergers and acquisition. Currently, she holds the role of Chief Innovation Officer in Deloitte Central Europe and Czech Republic, Mrs. Senta Čermáková. Welcome. The other lady in our panel is a managing DevOps programs and projects at Red Hat. She is NFT enthusiast, and she's also founding member of Holkiv Crypto community. Michala Malatin, welcome. Another another expert in our panel is entrepreneur and innovator. He is high-tech business developer and coach, and also chairman of Brainport Center for Technology and Law, Mr. Richard Bailat. Welcome. And last but not least, junior partner at Vysoft Ventures, finance guy, startup consultant, and also my dear former colleague, Mr. Lukáš Konečný. And by the way, I used their bio from LinkedIn. So if you didn't refresh your LinkedIn for a couple of years, I encourage you to do so, because people might use it eventually. So let's start with our presentations. You have been briefed, you know what to expect, and we will welcome our first startup now on stage. Please give a warm applause to Myco. Presenting is David Minařík, co-founder and CEO of this startup.
So, hello everyone. I will just give some small examples of our production to you. And and to you. So, first of all, thank you for having me. It's a big honor to be here. As been said, I'm from the startup Myco. My name is Minařík, and I'm co-founder and CEO of and R&D in Myco. We are doing everything. We are startups, right? So nowadays we are facing crises, right? We are facing two political crises. We are facing two economical crises, and last but not least, ecological crises like global warming and other beautiful things. We have to find a solution. So in Myco, we decided to produce something which can be supplement for the transport plastic or plastics using for transportation as a polystyrene and styrofoam and other things. We are using mushrooms. Mushrooms are very, very clever and very, very, let's say, complex organisms which are used for make such a things in our startup. I will just borrow it. It's kind of a steady, durable thing which can hold the things for transportation, and we are producing such a things. So we are using waste because there is a lot of waste, and each waste has itself mushroom. Mushrooms are for everything here because they are made for degradation. There have been millions and millions of years of evolution which are used for remove the biomass from our planet. In our way of production, there is a waste, there is a mushroom, it grows. We are not singing it, it just grows. We grow, we're making products, and wherever it ends, wherever it's not useful, it can end up there. There is no need for any back transportation or any recycle links or anything, because it's done. There is no toxic in wood and mushroom. You can just leave it there, or you can compost it, because it's of course compostable, and everything. We saw many examples of greenwashing, so much. Whenever I see this beautiful toothbrush, which traveled the world to be toothbrush, and it traveled the world again to be a toothbrush again somewhere else, and then they will just take a picture, it's ecological, and then it traveled the world again, and then it's ecological. No, it's not. Of course it's not. Oops. Okay. Some images. Yeah. Okay. No. They are degradable. Yeah, okay. Well, that's the rest of the presentation, and we see what we are facing now. Most of ecological examples are expensive, it takes time, and it's low quality. It seems there is no way to produce something cheap, to produce it fast, to produce it in really with no greenwashing by itself. So we, in Myco, in our startup, decided to make the industry of these mushrooms. Because the mushrooms grow, so it's low price. The mushrooms grow kind of fast. It's growing faster than any flowers or anything. So it can produce a huge volume of the products. And in the end, it's all about the impact. And if we use mushrooms, which are low price, because we want to be part of the industry, which is all about the price, we're not going to lie by itself, it can make the impact. Mushrooms, for me, it's mostly about, same as nature, it's mostly about imagination. There is a lot of solutions of the nature shaped by evolution, by millions of years of evolution, which we can incorporate in our solutions. And I think then we must, because it's just right now, it's the time to use it. So thank you for your attention. And thank you for your questions.
Thank you, David. By the way, the mushroom picking season already started. I'm going to the woods on Saturday, and I can wait. So when I first saw Myco, and they told me that they are basically growing mushrooms, I really loved them. And then they told me what they are making out of the mycelium. So it's even more interesting than the mushrooms itself. Now it's the time for our expert panel to ask their questions. Please, Santa, take the microphone and
So, David, thanks so much for your presentation. Could you tell us a little bit about your supply chain and also about time in this supply chain, from the waste to the end product?
Okay.
Thank you.
As I mentioned, and I maybe forgot to mention it in the presentation, we really want to be local. That's all it's about. The input from the waste, there is so much, it's a broad, wide spectrum we can use for growing our material. This is from the wood industry waste. You can use also the agriculture production waste. You can use textile, paper, whatever. You can combine it to make it mechanically better or better solutions for different kind of customers. And the timeline, okay. There is everything is made under our roof. That's what we say. So the waste, of course, it spent some weeks in our company, but we don't have to transport it. Also from us to our customers. But yeah, so there is a month and a half of growing this material, and in the end, it's like granulate for the plastics. We shape it afterwards, and then there is just the days, and it's done. We are very low energy efficiency because we are not using any big machines or anything. Those mushrooms are growing by itself. There is no need for special humidity chambers or anything. It's growing packed. It makes atmosphere by itself. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So from when they bring the waste to our company, to the product, it's like month and a half, let's say 6 and 7 weeks. Yeah.
Richard?
Yeah,
Welcome.
actually, a very interesting product. I'm from the Netherlands, and I saw something in our country where they use these kind of materials to actually bury people in. It's a bit dark, but basically what happens nowadays is, it's everybody, of course, you don't want to leave a large footprint when you're dead, so they say we don't want to put us in a oak coffin or whatever. Have you looked at these kind of applications as well?
Actually, yeah, we did. We have a designer in our company. It's 2 months ago, and she made a coffin. Yeah, probably she saw this guy, and he's really pioneer. The guy from Netherlands, he's really cool designer. He's really, look at it. It's really nice. And we also produce. I don't know how they call it in English. This can. You can put the ash afterwards.
Urn.
Urns.
Yeah, urn, of course.
Excellent.
Yeah. So that's actually a new thing for our company. Yeah, it's just bigger, and it's the same kind.
And you can put some
Yeah.
You
but
can put
It's
some
got
plant
pretty
seeds
dark,
in
pretty
it
fast.
as well.
of course,
And
of
then
course.
grow something afterwards.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks.
Maybe more optimistic type of questions, but thank you,
I think
Richard.
it's very optimistic. Actually, it's a
That
part
jokes.
of the road.
I would like to ask about the scaling the business. So, what is the biggest size of product you created, and we would like to move in the next 2 years?
Biggest size? You mean
Because we have
physically,
this size of products.
Yeah. Okay.
So, what is we know there are coffins, and what is the biggest size of product you produced in your?
We produce the coffin.
This is the biggest.
That's
size.
the biggest one. Yeah, but it was huge actually. No, yeah, we in our production right now, the biggest thing we are producing is the urn actually, because it's a 4 liters huge such a size of the thing. Scaling up our startup, it's about multiplying the kind of automatic lines we are working on now, because that's what with the industry, as I mentioned, low price, huge volume, is about automatization, definitely, and that's what we are working now. We want to multiplying to put it in every resource or every source for the substrate for our mushroom, like I mentioned, wood industry, agriculture production, those things, and produce more and more our products. And what was the question? Did I?
I think it was it, but I would like
Okay.
to ask, you focus on the Czech and maybe Slovakian market, or you want to scale to EMEA maybe further?
Okay, I definitely like to think much bigger. Let's say, yeah.
Thanks for the presentation. Very interesting project. I'm just wondering, in the long term, like, who are you as a company? Are you a developer of a great technology, how to make waste into something useful? Are you a developer, or are you manufacturer of a material that anyone can use to build whatever they want? Or are you building products like urns, coffins, or whatever you come up with? Anything more optimistic?
Yeah. Our material is mostly used for, let's say, so far, for design and cool things, like urns and coffins. We would, we would love to make the industry of it, because we see the potential to really make the impact of this ecological material. So our company is, the members of our startup are, some of them are shaped of automotive industry, and others of some building, made some building materials. And we definitely focus on automatization of the process. So it's mostly about it. Like for now, we're working on the line which produced effectively a lot of this material. So we want to produce this. Then we produce the machine which shape it. And that's what we are. We are researchers and, let's say, developers. So we would like to make this and then grow, as we do.
So if I have an additional question, can you somehow quantify or maybe describe in other words the impact that you would like to create in a decade from now?
Okay, decade. It's a huge epoch. Let's say it's about bite some percentage of the plastic production and replace it with our material. That's from now what I see in packaging. Then we would like to move to the building materials, because we also make some research and developments of some building materials, because there is an option, but for now it's about automatization and packaging. So that's what I see now.
So David, you said that you are a startup and that you have like multiple roles yourself. So what are your roles in your company, and how many people do you have in those roles?
Okay, there is me and Honza Ostrezi, which are co-founders, and we co-founded 2 years ago. And I'm doing research and development, because I'm part-time job also in Academy of Science, and I kind of do this mushroom part of it thing. Honza Ostrezi, he's the guy who came from automotive. He's very effective in his mind, and he's about to produce this automatization. And the other guy who's there, it's Martin Janča. He's another engineer of materials, and he's our he's doing sales. So this guy, on the other hand, is made some research of building materials in the university. So he's kind of he's a broad knowledge of building materials and usage and the possibilities and all those codes and things. There is marketing, and there is some hands we have in our company. So we have some employees which are producing our products for now. So we are 6 people for now.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
Any other questions or remarks from our expert panel regarding this project? Because we have 1 minute left.
What can anyone in the audience buy from you right now?
They can buy those things we see. Like we mostly aiming on B2B production. So we have some customers, like for instance Zonentor. They are producing this teas and herbs. Or there is so whatever. For instance, these corners, they are made for use it for packaging the things. So whenever found some application, they can call us. or such a things. That's what we are producing now. So transport packaging for transportation, let's say. That's
David, who do you consider your competition in the traditional industries and in this kind of trendsetting sustainability industry?
Yeah, there's definitely like a classical solution, like styrofoam, polystyrofoams, and so on. But good thing of them, there is a legislation who kind of push them somewhere else, and there is this paper mesh thing, which probably in the future will be kind of questionable in the ecology, because there is a lot of chemicals using in the process of production of this thing. So of course this is our kind of competitors in the market, and yeah, that's some of these.
Okay. Thank you so much for your answers. Thank you, panel, for your questions.
Thank you, jury.
Applause
I will
for
take it. Yeah.
David Minařík from Myco.
And
Collect your mushroom stuff and get off the stage. Okay, so now we go from mushrooms to something else you can actually eat in the future, hopefully. I would like to get on the stage now Mr. Roman Lauš, founder and CEO of a company called Mewery. There is your clicker.
Thank you. So hello everyone, how are you doing? All good? So for me it's a big honor first to be born in Brno, to live in Brno, and talk at such a great event. I'm so happy that this Innovation Summit is happening here in Brno. My name is Roman Lauš, and I'm here today to talk about a revolutionary technology. Mewery, my cell-based company, uses the unique microalgae technology, which can unlock the scale-up potential for the whole cultivated meat industry worldwide. But let me tell you first why I started this venture. This is my real passion, and it has been aligned with my inner values that I developed as an entrepreneur and meditation and mindfulness teacher for the past 20 years. Therefore, I truly care about animals and our planet. Eating slaughtered animals will become as obsolete as is to smoke cigarettes in the restaurant today, in my opinion. That's why I'm working on a solution so that my children and children of my children can have a choice to choose slaughter-free, cultivated, healthy and juicy pork, beef, poultry, whatever products which are made without killing the animals or our planet. Let me tell you how we contribute to helping with climate change. The cultivation of meat in a lab uses or emits 92% fewer carbon emissions in comparison with the classical way of producing meat as of now. We need to use 95% less land, which is normally used for breeding or for growing whole animals and to feed them, as you know. The cultivation of meat in the lab factories uses 78% less water, again, in comparison with what we know. Therefore, I really envision that cultivation of meat in the labs can truly help stop killing animals, having all the sufferings we can see on all these farms, and actually not farms, but it's like these big slaughterhouses, and help to make our production of food really sustainable. What we aim for in our strategy is that we are aiming for a pork market which is enormous. Most of the worldwide companies from our industry, they focus on poultry they focus for poultry, fish, or beef. We are one of very few companies in the world who can cultivate porcine cells into a mass, which is the meat in the end. Therefore, we really believe that we can take a huge part of the market in the future. So what makes us different? Most of the companies, they struggle with growth factors, with usage of FBS, which is fetal bovine serum, which is completely not ethical and not economical viable, and with the scaffolds. What we have developed, it's a patentable, unique microalgae technology when we don't use FBS, and we can actually make the whole cultivation totally decreased by 70%. What is happening in our R&D? I have no time to go into details, but what we do is that we isolate cells from the animal. We use stem cells and satellite cells. We made them grow in our media and using our growth factors. And as we are getting our first prototypes as we speak, and using our 5 liters bioreactors in the lab for our lab scale to get our first MVP. So we have proof of concept, we are getting first prototypes, we are scaling up next year, pilot scale in 24, and we would love to, actually we have a whole plan how to hit the market in 2026. In terms of competition, there are very few companies in the pork market. As I said, we are the only company using microalgae for medium growth factors and scaffolds. Let me tell you who is our back. We are supported by 3 main institutions and universities in the country. We are supported by European Union. We are backed up by Big Idea Ventures, which is the most active worldwide investor group in alternative protein. Also by Purple Venture and Credo Ventures. This is the recent, there will be a press release coming in next days.
Roman, I will ask you for your last slide because
it is the last slide.
Time.
And I could not do everything without our great team, because this is actually what made what I can present today possible. So thank you very much, and I will be delighted to answer all your questions.
Thank you, Roman. Big applause for Roman Lauš, and now I will ask our expert panel to start with the questions.
So my question is, I have heard about this process many times before. So what is actually making your company unique in this kind of biological scientific process, and what will kind of keep you to be unique as we go? Because I understand that in many laboratories, the same research is now kind of peaking. Thank you.
Thanks. So first of all, there is one big difference between an alternative, which is plant-based, which is completely a different game. And in many opinions of many people, it will hardly take the whole market over because it's just for vegans or vegetarians. Yeah. So here, what most of the companies do, they basically try to create muscle and fat in a lab using cultivation of cells, right? But what is the biggest challenge here in the industry? It's a scale-up, of course, because it's very expensive. It's coming from pharmaceutical industry, some of the techniques. So what is novel here, it's using a different approaches from cross disciplines. And this is actually what makes me so excited, to be honest. And so what we have is that we just submitted the patent for, I cannot go into details, but what we do is that we basically use the microalgae to give the nutrition and everything what the cells need to grow in very efficient way for super low price. And this is actually very unique in the whole industry. We were reached by Big Idea Ventures, and they have scientists in Singapore, in New York, everywhere, and they were like asking the same question. They said like, what is really unique with your technology? So we sent them all the papers, all the proofs. It took 2 months, and after 2 months they said, if this works, you will change the whole industry. So this is not that I would claim it, but this is what I heard. Let's hope that we manage. We do our best. Of course, there are many challenges, to be very frank, but what the uniqueness is basically the microalgae here.
Excellent. Yeah, I always very much welcome these animal-friendly solutions as an animal friend. I mean, growing pigs nowadays is not only for the animal terrible, but also for the environment. But also closing down all these animal farms, all these pig farms, is a burden for the farmers themselves. Is it possible for this technology to let's say upscale and downscale at the same time, to make smaller units that you can produce these kind of materials locally, for example, at the local farm somewhere?
This is definitely, actually, this is also part of our company strategy. We are also, are fan of so-called conscious living, basically, which is what is it all about? That this can be done within the region, because I mean, it was also said before, if you are transporting meat, it's already not sustainable, full stop. So it has to be regional, so you can create a small bioreactors within the big industrial kitchens. You can make like a bigger, bioreactors for the village or city or the whole region. So definitely this is the plan, and this is actually how it has to be in the future.
Okay, thanks.
Honestly, I love enthusiasm because it really shows that you live for that and for the conscious living. So it is something that really means a lot to me, and it should be heard like abroad this place. With your strategy, do you have anything related to education? Because you can create amazing products, services, but how do you educate? And do you have any plans in the future, have some workshops or something like that?
Actually, you are pointing out the biggest points which are personally important for me, and this is change of mindset. As you know, I didn't have time to mention it, but I started 6 years ago. We started Futureport Prague. I co-founded it with Martin Olečko from Etnetera. And this is the reason why we started it, that we really wanted to change mindset of people here, not that we want them to change, but to show the opportunities. And here, I think one of the biggest part of cultivated meat revolution, let's say, it's coming from the end. It's not about the technology, it's about mindset. It's about trying to think different and see that the way how we consume meat is not natural at all, because people say, is it the meat from lab? Is it the Frankenstein meat? What are you talking about? But the most natural for cells is to grow and divide. It's not natural to make them grow and divide, of course, in unnatural conditions, but the way how we breed or how we grow animals is beyond natural. What is natural, and I also didn't answer fully, is to have a farm, to have your environment, to make it sustainable. But this huge industrial farming we face every day is far beyond from natural. So I would say this is definitely something where we need to put a lot of energy and educate people to understand that this kind of meat, it's more healthy and it's even safer, because we have no idea what's happening in the slaughterhouse. If you go there, maybe you have, but it's really not that clean as we think. So this is basically, what I could comment on that.
Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation. Really great to see such an impactful project being started here in Brno. I wonder, from a regulatory point of view, what it is actually that you are producing and how regulated it is, meaning how hard is it to get to consumers' hand actually in the end?
Yeah, this is also very, how to put it, I was listening to this morning panel, and it's completely true. What European Union is doing, it's amazing, but we cannot enter the market first here, because European regulation of novel food is so complicated and so over-regulated that there is no company in the world who had submitted a dossier, like a first submission for the novel food of cultivated meat, because they need to know all the details before they really apply. So what is happening is that you have Singapore, you have England, because they have different conditions, you have US, and of course, Asia as such. And in terms of regulatory, as I said, it's a novel food. It's basically a food which has to be, in Europe, it has to be approved by all member states. You have to have all the tests. It's a very complicated process. But basically, you are introducing a new food to the market. So regulation is also a big challenge, but it's been, of course, discussed and developed on many levels. I'm also part of European board of of companies who are pushing the legislation in Europe here. But it seems that the first market we enter will be Singapore.
If I may ask, once you cross all the challenges that are there before you and you get the product on the market, is there an estimate how much will a pork chop cost?
Yeah, I love this question. You mean the cultivated pork? Yeah. So again, I cannot just say 5, 10 euros, but what I can say is that there are many different parts. First of all, what is the cost of meat today? It's subsidized by 50 or 60% in Europe. So it means it's not the real cost. This is the first thing. So there were many discussions, now there is a petition in Europe that all these subsidies should come to alternative protein, because this is the real answer to, one of the answers to what we are talking about here today. And if there are no these subsidies, it means it's even, one time more expensive. And here, I think the cultivated meat can be already very competitive. So it's very difficult to say at the moment, because we don't have all this. I have numbers for lab scale, and we are having some, projections for the pilot scale. But I can say numbers, but it's still the price parity. There are many techno-economic analyses out there. There are like 4 or 5 actually existing by McKinsey and many other big companies. And they say the price parity should come by the end of the decade.
So we have time for one last question.
So, Roman, what do you actually take to Singapore if you take the Singaporean market as the testing market? Is it like some machine which will produce this meat, or is it the patent only, or is it like the whole team of your company? Like, what is actually the end product which goes to Singapore from Brno?
Yeah, I'm part of this program in Singapore. We have like a science team there, which is provided by Big Idea Ventures. The government supports it fully. They cover actually 80% of all costs. They give you the labs, they give you people, because they need it even more than us. I mean, this is their burden there. But yet, I think it will take a bit of time that we all realize that we really need it. I don't want to say we are the only solution for all the problems, but definitely I see cultivated meat as one of the answers for our actually big problems we are facing today.
Thank you, Roman. Thank you
very
for your
much.
answers.
Thank you.
And hopefully we won't need to go to Singapore in 2026 to buy the first artificial meat that you made, or artificial sausage. I don't know what would be like the first product, but we will see. Okay, let's move from the more edible things into more maybe abstract things, because we are moving towards software, towards transportation and logistics. And I would like to welcome on stage Tomáš Zahradník, co-founder and CEO of company Wereldo.
Thank you. As Barack Obama said, we are the first generation feeling the effect of climate change. And we are also the last generation that can do something about it. Luckily, Europe has an ambitious goal, and we want to become first climate-neutral continent by 2050. If we want to meet this goal, we have to lower our emissions across all major economic sectors down to zero. If we will look how we are doing today, we can see that there is one outlier, and that's transportation. Transportation is the only economic sector which is growing its emissions since the 90s, and it's not stopping. There are 2 major contributors to this problem. First are passenger cars. It's a highly discussed topic these days, and we can see 0 or low emission cars on the road. Maybe some of you is driving electric vehicle today, and people are willing to pay premium for these products. Second largest contributor is road freight, especially those heavy-duty trucks we meet on highway. There is over 6 million of them, and they produce 6% of greenhouse gas emissions in Europe. The problem is that in trucks, total cost of ownership means everything. So companies will not be willing to pay that green premium for those products. And trucks we sell today, mostly diesel-powered trucks, will last on the road decades to come. And the most ambitious projections tell us that there is a big gap between where we are heading and where we want to be. So we can ask ourselves a different question, and that's, are we using those trucks to their full potential? Are we using them efficiently? And that's a question we asked at Wereldo 3 years ago, and since then we developed algorithms and software that help us better plan our fleet. And we were able to demonstrate our success many times, even with the largest Czech carrier in the Czech Republic. And today, I'm confident to say that we are able to deliver 20% savings in operational cost just by planning better. So you might ask why everybody is not planning better automatically. Well, it's hard to change how company works, and it's hard to change processes. So we burn oil we don't have, to drive kilometers we don't have to, and we produce carbon dioxide we are trying to get rid of. That's why we decided to change the industry from within. And a year ago, we contracted our first truck and started using our software. And since then, we delivered over 10,000 shipments for 300 customers, and we are doubling our revenue every single quarter. But the most important thing is that since the day one, we are planning automatically with our software, and we have dispatchers, the people from logistics, sitting right next to people from data science. And every day we are improving. And that's something we bake deeply in our DNA, and that's the thing that sets us apart. If you want to join us, we are looking for investment to support our pre-Series A growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have actually managed to finish in 4 minutes. That's a record today. Yeah. So you have made up the time that the previous startups lost. Thank you for that. Okay, now it's time to start the question part of this pitch.
I'll take off. I looked at your website and your proposition and then thought a bit about it. And then it popped up in my mind, actually what you're doing is trying to be the Uber of the transport sector.
Yes, it's one way how you can look at it, but what we are saying that we want to be more like Flixbus for transportation sector.
That's another one, yeah. How do you, one of the big things that you have to do then is to get your partners on board. How do you convince them to work with you? Because you're distributing and you're messing up their business model, basically.
Mm-hmm. So we have partners like DHL Freight, for example, and we have local companies with trucks, and we manage those trucks with our software, and the partners do the delivery to the end locations. It's not hard to convince small companies that we can hire a truck from them, and for big companies, we play as a key sales channel for them. So it's partnership. It's from both sides. It's beneficial. So we don't see any problems there. But we want to have more partners to diversify the risks.
Okay, thanks.
So, Tomáš, what is the secret sauce of your software? Is it like machine learning, or is it something different?
Yeah, we can put a lot of buzzwords there, but it's mostly those are heuristics we developed with Minařík University here in Brno. So for the past 3 years, we've been developing those algorithms, and it's not one algorithm that would solve these issues. It's many different algorithms we have to apply in different stages when we plan. So, for example, day forward, when we do predictions and these things, next day when we are getting a lot of changes, so we have to adapt quickly and react to those changes. So, yeah, I would say maybe yes. Yeah.
How many developers do you have, if you might ask?
Yeah, 5 with me.
Oh, cool. I was checking the website too, and you have there one item, like you will deliver the item to the provider, then they will take care of the rest. How do you assure quality experience of the customer that you are passing from one to another?
Yeah, so we deliver, we plan for the first mile in logistics, and then we put this cargo to our partners, and we are responsible for delivering that the delivery is okay. So the quality of service is important for us, so we have direct channels directly with our partners. We can monitor those packages and try to predict that they will be delayed, for example, or if they are broken, solve it quickly as possible. So I think our process, the communication with our partners is more efficient than normal company would be able to do. But it's still our bottleneck in quality.
Also, I saw you have live support 24/7, which is great. Do you also cooperate with like partner companies on this 24/7 support?
No, we are doing the support 24/7. We don't have any external companies for that.
Okay, yeah.
Question basically, I'm transporting quite a lot through Europe, and one of the things I always run into is insurance of freight. Might that be also something you can deal with? I mean, if you have let's say transport from Czech Republic to for example England, that your goods are insured and that you also have the best rate insurance.
Yeah, so there is some basic insurance already in price, but we can sell insurance if the cargo is more valuable, for example, and it's something that we put on our partner right now, but in the future it's another potential revenue stream for us.
I have two questions. First of them, from the entire logistics ecosystem, can you explain to us why does it make sense for you to focus on the first mile? And then the second question, which is unrelated but equally important, I was wondering, when considering your customers and your partners, are they actually interested in the environmental impact, or is it something that you have to educate them about because they just care about the money and the rest is, somewhere else?
Okay. So the first question, in the first mile is the last thing that is not optimized. So we hear a lot about last mile deliveries, we hear a lot about warehouses, but nobody's focusing on the first mile. So it's a last piece that has to be solved. Also, it's very good for us because we can grow geographically, so we can focus where we will look for our customers, so that's good. And for the second question was if customers are interested in environmental impact. I don't think. I think they are not right now in general, but it might change in the future. But the price is the main concern for companies, especially these days.
And is your solution somehow tracking or estimating the environmental impact and showing that to the customers so that you can help increase awareness of the issue?
Yeah, we are not doing that today. It's something that it's not completely essential at this moment. So right now we have to get to the scale, but we can definitely do it in the future when we will have more, let's say, human capacity.
Tomáš, what is the logic of the colors on the picture?
Okay. I hope that nobody will notice.
They did.
What we do is that, as I said, we do the first mile, and we sometimes deliver to the cross-dock, where a partner will deliver it to the end location. But our system can detect that sometimes we can deliver it directly. We don't have to go through cross-dock. So the red dots are direct deliveries. let's say. Or the different colors means with different
Very
things,
good.
but let's not go there.
Now I understand that it's close to Brno.
Okay, is there any other remark, question, or feedback you would like to give?
My favorite question, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Okay. Well, it's hard to say in 10 years when we are 1 year on market, practically. But we want to really dominate the first mile and later last mile logistics, because we think that we have the right tools to do it and right people. So now is the question how quickly we can scale this model. And in 10 years, the situation will definitely change because we will have more zero or low emission trucks on the road. I don't know when it's going to be, but we can also see the opportunity that those trucks will be huge batteries on a wheel, so we can use those batteries in the future smartly, because that's something that might be important for grid, let's say, and the idea when discharge, that can be something we can put into our objective function and use those trucks in different area, let's say.
I have a question. Your product is a software. Do you have mobile app or it's only like the web browser?
We have multiple apps now. So for a client, we have an app where they can book cargo. For our dispatchers and people inside, we have internal tooling for planning and monitoring. And we have an app for a driver. We are able to get a lot of data from the driver and use it later to improve our models.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so I think that we will be done with the questions now. Thank you so much. Please leave the clicker there. This was Tomáš Zahradník, co-founder and CEO of Wereldo. There is a beautiful synergy because Mewery will produce the meat, Myco will produce the packaging, right? And Wereldo will deliver it in the end. Let's see if we can find similar synergies with another project that we will now welcome to the stage. And it will be quite tricky because we go back to the lab. So let me welcome on the stage founder of a startup called ffinity, Mr. Tomáš Evangelidis. Tomáš, it's yours. There's the clicker.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I am Tomáš Evangelidis. I'm the founder of a new spin-off company of Minařík University named ffinity. And the problem that we try to solve is called drug discovery. It's actually the very first stage of the drug development pipeline that you see here, where we seek to identify drug candidate molecules that are subsequently tested on animals during the preclinical phase, and then they pass to clinical trials where they're tested on humans. The drug discovery phase takes 3 to 6 years and absorbs 30 to 40% of the resources. The experimental screening cost can reach up to $4 million, and the success rate is very low, less than 2% of the molecules they enter the clinical trials. In the company, we do 2 types of activities. The first one is to virtually screen very large libraries containing millions of molecules like these that you see here, trying to identify those that bind to a protein, which structure you see here, that causes a disease. Then we model the complex of the protein with the molecule and try to characterize the interactions in order to improve the properties of the molecule, like the binding affinity, the solubility, the distribution to the tissues, and the toxicity. In parallel, we develop a software and experimental methodology to solve the 3-dimensional structure of molecules. Our body contains up to 50 million cells, and each cell contains up to 42 million molecules. These molecules, they move and interact with each other. Identifying and understanding their structure dynamics is key to understanding and curing diseases. Only one method, experimental method, can give us that information, and it's called nuclear magnetic resonance, in which we place the biomolecule into a high-energy magnetic field, and we expose it to radio waves, which in turn make the atoms to emit signals. From these signals, we construct the spectrum, and from the spectrum, we can compute a three-dimensional structure, which we can use to design new medicines, as you see here. What is the value proposition? We're in a very early stage, so we didn't manage to run a project end-to-end, so I'm going to show you a slide from another company which uses a similar AI technology to get an idea of the benefits. First one, we can decrease the preclinical development time up to threefold. In this case, the preclinical development lasted 1.5 years, and they managed to decrease it to 5 months. Also, the experimental screening costs can be dropped up to 7 times. For example, from 1 million euros to 134,000 euros. And finally, the success rate is increased. Recall that I said that less than 2% of the molecules enter the clinical stage. With AI technology, up to 6% of candidate molecules can enter the clinical trials. On the experimental front, our solution for 3D protein structure determination is 6 times faster and 3 times cheaper than the state-of-the-art in the market. We can cope with larger proteins than other NMR methods, and our algorithm software facilitates automatic spectrum analysis and is the fastest experimental characterization technique for protein-ligand interactions. The first version was published in Nature in 2018, and now we're preparing for the second version. And I will close my presentation from a page from a business intelligence report where I highlighted 2 sentences. One of the most widely used AI solutions currently underutilized on the market is in silico modeling. In silico modeling is exactly what we do in the company. That complements experimental research in a resource-efficient manner. It is predicted that by 2025, the use of artificial intelligence in the clinical trials will grow 15 times. And you see here the projection of the total investment in the AI market in biopharma till 2025 in America, Europe, Asia, Pacific, and the rest of the world. This is me. I am a software developer, scientific software developer for 15 years, focusing on protein ligand binding affinity prediction and NMR. I developed an algorithm named Deep Scaffold for drug design, which excelled in a worldwide competition for drug design. And I developed myself also solely the first version of the NMR software, which was published in Nature. And now within a team that I lead, we developed the second version. This is the team. It comprises 8 members, the core team, which are supported by 2 business advisors and 5 scientific advisors, which are quite active. They're not there just for decoration. And our motto is focus and excel. And with this, I would like to close my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tomáš, for your presentation. And now let's ask experts for their questions.
Tomáš, thank you very much for the presentation and for explaining quite a complex project in a way that even a layman can understand, so thank you for that. I will not pretend that I understand deeply what you guys do actually. What I do know is that the problem that you are trying to tackle is huge. Everyone in the industry knows about it and tries to solve it in a way because there can be a lot of money saved, there can be a lot of life saved, there can be a lot of good done for the society. There is a lot of great stuff happening in Brno. It's great to be here, but when you compare it globally, around the world there are places where there are teams trying to do similar stuff who probably have better access to capital, better access to know-how, better resources in general. So can you explain to us what is the secret sauce that your team has that can actually make it possible for a team from here to succeed in a global competition?
Yeah, sure. It will be egoistic to claim that we have a unique drug design technology that is better than anything else. Of course, I had some success in international competition with my own algorithm, but the real uniqueness, the real unique asset of the company is the NMR, nuclear magnetic resonance. And why? In this domain, we have very little competition, up to non-competition. NMR is a physical chemistry technique applied in biochemistry. It requires expert knowledge, both in physical chemistry and biochemistry. So the people who can understand NMR are very scarce, very hard to find. And it requires very expensive facilities, and that clicks very well with sustainability because I mentioned in the video that we place the molecule within a very big instrument that contains massive coils that generate high energy fields. And these coils, they function for many days in a row. The typical experiment lasts 16 days. Imagine what immense amount of energy they consume. Our method, the new method, new version, is able to reduce the time to 6.5 days. That's 2.5 times less. So expensive facility, highly specialized personnel, complicated nature of the spectra, the result is spectra. They need to be analyzed manually, and manual analysis introduces errors. We try to do all this on the computer, with a computer algorithm based on artificial intelligence, to minimize the errors, decrease the time, decrease the costs, and increase the efficiency and accuracy eventually. So NMR is underutilized in the pharmaceutical industry and can be very well associated with drug design and applied on several stages of drug design, starting from characterization of protein-ligand interactions. That's the very first stage. May I go back? This one? So far we do it computationally, but we can solve the structure, characterize interaction experimentally. It will be undoubtful information, undisputed. Then we can do this in high throughput with NMR, not only one molecule at a time. As opposed to the competitive techniques that they use in the industry, X-ray crystallography, which represents the molecules in an artificial frozen state in a crystal form, NMR gives the structure and dynamics of the molecule in its natural solution, which is the water solution within the cells. So we have this advantage to get a more natural-like information. Eventually, we envision ffinity to implement NMR in our drug design pipeline and in a larger scale, and in this way to improve our predictions and accuracy. And that will be the main advantage over the competitors. And fortunately, in Brno, we have excellent facilities at CETEC with a wide range of instruments, up to 950 megahertz, which is very, very strong magnetic field. They create very strong magnetic fields, and they are suitable for the study of large biomolecules, like the proteins.
Yeah. Thanks, very interesting presentation. My question is basically, how are you going to sell this? Are you going to sell it as consultancy, as a software algorithm, or a patent, or what's the plan?
Yeah, we are hardly based. We're hardly based on software development. We're a software development company. So eventually, we aspire to license our software, but we will also provide it as a service in order to be sustainable. I mean, the company, the development of the company, and. So this is a model will be hybrid. And also joint ventures with other pharmaceutical companies, because of course, as I said in the last slide, our motto is focus and excel. We don't try to address multiple problems simultaneously because we will be condemned to fail. We are, as you pointed out, in a small country with restricted amount of expert human resources. So we need to utilize them wisely, and also money.
I have two questions. One, can you explain royalties? You mentioned the paper we got. And the second, what I understand, it is a lot of processing power, like code processing and such. How is it electricity heavy? With the question about the sustainability and such.
Yes, yes. Now, I will answer about the drug design and NMR separately. The NMR software was developed within CETEC, so we bought the license from Minařík University, and we have to pay them royalties from the sales, of course. But the advantage is that, as a spin-off of Minařík University, we have access to their NMR facilities for a lower price. On the drug design front, the software that we develop further in the company is based on my code. We call it legacy code because it's the code I developed for over 15 years. In that case, the company owns all the copyrights because they were inherited from me to the company. And now regarding the computer resources, fortunately, computational resources for NMR software, they're not very demanding. We can run it on a commodity computer, the software. Now for drug design, when it comes to screening millions of molecules like this, then we need access to supercomputing facilities for the moment. Because also supercomputing facilities and cloud are very expensive, we try to reduce the amount of molecules that we need to screen using intelligent algorithms for the selection. It's called diversity set selection. We select only the best candidate molecules from the millions that are in the chemical library, and we focus on that.
I basically have a suggestion. I've in the past been in touch with a large medical company from Denmark, and they made also kind of medicine, medical instruments, and everything is difficult if you talk about human medicine. It has to be certified, long tracks. If you produce something, it has to be done that way for years. Basically, they worked with several thousand people on a couple of instruments, and a spin-off of them, 40 people, they started with animal healthcare. And then suddenly everything is easy. It's not as stringent, as strict as the human thing. Have you thought about that as well, to test medical stuff from animals?
As a matter of fact, I'm not, of course, entitled to enclose more information. I'm in contact with a company that develops antibodies for animals. And they're interested in the NMR technology, because our NMR technology can solve the three-dimensional structure of the antibody with the antigen. And this way, knowing the three-dimensional structure, they can rationally improve the antibody to bind stronger to the antigen. So it has also applications in that domain, NMR, but of course also drug design. The algorithm that we develop, the software, is generally applicable to any kind of protein targets. Either it's a human or a murine, or from pork, porcine, or from a horse, etc. So if in the future we have the privilege to find a pharmaceutical company, a potential customer that operates in the field of animal healthcare, then we can easily collaborate.
Okay, we have time for one last question, Senta.
Okay. So Thomas, have you identified the area, maybe one disease or like a group of diseases, where this approach kind of works very well in advantage to others?
Yes,
because for us as the potential investors, I think we like you, we like your presentation, but I think we need to see like really the business case. So is there a business case? Is it like cancer or something?
I wouldn't restrict it to a type of disease. I will speak about the target, the protein target. In the cell, there are 20 to 30,000 different proteins. And malfunction of one or more proteins can lead to a disease. So it depends which protein malfunctions. There are proteins that they don't have like a static structure. They have allosteric binding sites. They undergo very radical conformational changes. And these proteins, they are very hard to treat using in silico methods. And so the traditional experimental high-throughput screening is more successful in this case. Fortunately, the diseases are not caused by malfunction of one protein, but more. So sometimes we have the luck to identify a new target protein, that has those properties that will allow more successful application of our in silico methodology and in silico technology. So it's very hard to answer, generally speaking. It's case-specific, very case-specific. Yes, and disease-specific.
Thank you so much for your answers, Thomas. And this was Thomas Evangelidis from a startup called AI Ffinity. Thank you. And now there is the last presentation ahead of us. And we will move to a completely different type of industry, because we will move more towards creative industries. I would like to welcome to the stage co-founder of Plastic Guys, Mr. Ondřej Venclík.
Oh, yes.
You can take it. You can definitely try to wear it. So, okay. Once again, hello, everybody. I would like to welcome you in my hometown, here in the nicest hotel, Hotel Passage. And I would like to thank you for my supporters. I got my family, my father, friends, and my girlfriend, also some of my professors from my academy, right here sitting into the audience. So, hello. Plastic guys, what do you think it means? We are guys from the Brno, and we just finished the architecture academy, and then is the hot guy and me. So we are two guys which started this company and currently working in the second year, and we found out that the situation in the world is not pretty good right now, and we saw this in India. We saw a lot of Italy in beaches, a lot of plastic waste, but it's not the world problem. Also in Czech Republic we got waste problems, and we found out that at our university we have to do something about it, like a new generation. So yeah, we focused on the plastic. We focused on the recycling plastic and make a new construction material from recycled, 100% recycled plastic. So we just use the old plastic, which is wasted, put it in the garbage. We shred it into the small flakes so we can work with it better, put it into the pizza oven, melt it down, and make the sheets. So yeah, we started out that as we bought the old pizza ovens, put the plastic inside, and when you put the plastic inside to the oven, you found out that then it melts. So that's the secret sauce what we make. So yeah, here you can see, if you melt the plastic and let it cool, you can make pretty awesome sheets, which you can use for furniture. So as on the screen, we can see that there are a lot of usages, like cup holders, tables. This is the biggest table in European Union from the recycled plastic. It got 4 meters long and it's pretty heavy. A lot of new ways how to think with the recycled plastic is you can use it for furniture, you can use it for chairs, for some industries which we didn't even think about. And as you can see, you can also definitely use the sheet and heat it up again, and you can bend it again. So if you heat it up, bend, and let it cool, it can bend into the chair. So definitely there is like an indestructible chair which you can use for, I don't know, schools, for kids, and a lot of new things. As we found out, there is nobody in the Central Europe which is currently working on this recycling plastic furniture. We are the first in Czech Republic and also in the other countries like Poland, Germany, Austria, and Slovakia. There are only 2 guys, one in Britain and one in Netherlands. So we found out that we are first in the Central Europe. We got even lower prices than our competitors, and we got the faster delivery time. And yeah, now I will show you what you can do with the pretty awesome sheets. We made this bar in Prague, and there is like a light behind it. You can make the outside benches. This is the collaboration with the firm Cementum, and they are recycling old concrete. We recycle plastic, so we would like to show the European Union that we can make a 100% recyclable product. This is what it looks like when it's laid behind the sheets, because one texture is like this, another texture is when you put it behind the light, and then it really makes pretty awesome textures when you put the light behind it. There is a second prototype for the outside benches with the firm Cementum, and yeah, we can use the sheets also like paintings, like tables or handbag clutches. And last month we found out that the Eco exhibition wanted to present us as a furniture maker, and with collaboration with another eco products as chairs, a lot of girl stuff, and this is how it looks like. So yeah, they presented the eco products on our sheets. Also, we can make pretty artistic paintings, which are not painted but baked. You can bake the painting. And yeah, we are trying to produce bigger and bigger sheets. As you can see, now we are scaling up to 1.5 to 1 meter. And the next slide is like from also wasted from the 3D printing filaments. We are collaborating with the biggest firm in Czech Republic, which is Prusa, 3D filaments, and you can recycle it into this mesh, but it looks kind of crazy and awesome.
Ondřej, I'm sorry, but we're out of time.
Sorry.
We need to end, and we need to start with the questions. So you see these wonderful realizations of plastic guys, but now it's time to get to more natural questions, not the plastic ones. So please, our experts, thank you for your presentation. And our experts, now it's time for the final round of Q&A. So if you would like to start, that would be great.
So, Ondřej, do you plan to go in this kind of beautiful artistic way where I see your background, because you studied architecture, or do you rather plan to go into the industrial segment? What is your kind of dream customer?
We found out that a lot of customers are architects, which showing the customers this product, and they want to put it into their new restaurant or bar. Mm-hmm. So we found out there is one way, so we can collaborate with the architects, and then there is a second way of the products that we only manufacture the sheets, and then we ship it out and don't care at all. And then the world will make the difference with them. We are going with the both ways. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I have a more technical question. You're talking about plastic, but plastic is a lot of products basically. You've got PVC, you got polyurethane, and so on. What can you handle?
You are talking about the thermoplastics, and this is the product which we can use. All thermoplastic, there are like 7 basic groups, and then there are a lot of new groups. But we can use every thermoplastics which we can find, and only a difference in the melting temperature. So no problem. If we separate the plastics, we can melt it down into the new sheets. So we can recycle it again because it's the one group of the sheet of plastic.
Okay, one related question. How are you going to make these? Is this, for example, by rotational molding, or what kind of technique do you use?
This is injection molding.
Injection molding.
This is like you make a small form and you just put the melting plastic in it, let it cool, and then just open the form. And you got this. You can use it for tea, cup, or beer. Depends on you.
Nice.
I'd like to ask you, like you are basically melting plastics together. How do you assure the quality if you do it like 5 times?
Yeah, like the recycled.
Yeah.
We found out that German partners made 10 cycles, and after 10 cycles of recycling, then the plastic starts to be a little bit more shrinky. So you add up like 20% of the new plastic, and you got the same characters of the plastics again. So you can recycle the sheets 10 times, which is awesome. And nobody speak about it.
So originally I wanted to ask you whether there is any kind of proprietary technology, but then you talked about the pizza oven, so I got that. So I have to change my question. But as the topic today is sustainability, for business to sustain, their founders need to sustain as well. Is it actually healthy for you to melt the plastics in a pizza oven and work with that?
Yeah, you can definitely try it at your home if you put the plastic bottle.
It happened to me quite a lot of times. So
I would rather not.
You can do it, but yeah, if you melt it into very high temperature, then it will start to be toxic. So yeah, we have to find out the right temperature. So we just melt it down, and there are no fumes and no toxicity. So we just have to, when we got the new material, we have to test it out, and then we know like the right temperature, and we make it. The one sheet is like in 2 hours, completely made out.
Okay, then more serious topic. one of the slides said you are cheaper than, or less expensive than a competition. I wonder whether this is a point of comparison for you, whether it's an important point of comparison, because as I can see, the product over there, it has design quality and it has the environmental quality. So do you actually need to compete with the price? And apart from that, whether you actually need, I would assume that considering the current state of business, you actually don't know how expensive it is to build a company and produce the products in a mass scale. So
Understand.
that might change in the future.
I understand. Yeah, we are working currently. We were testing this for 1 year, and no income was involved. So we started making money after 1 year, and now we are in green numbers. And we found out that, we can definitely raise the price of the sheets because the competitors got it even higher, like for 50% more. So why not? We are special in the location because in every town is a different type of waste streams of the plastic. So if somebody starts in Prague or in Slovakia or in Germany, they will have different textures of the sheets than us. So we would be liked for the competitors to save the more plastic, but no problem, we can definitely rank up the prices if you want.
Just get the pizza oven and then it's settled.
So as there are no hands raised, I will continue. What kind of business are you building? It's the same question I had for the first one, I guess. Are you building a company that will be producing the material and selling the material to other guys, or are you building furniture or other design pieces that you will sell to customers, the end product?
As you told, we would like to manufacture only the sheets because we found out if you manufacture the sheets and then talk with the customer, make the special textures for them, it's a lot of time consuming. So we would like to continue with this because we started like it, but we see more the money maker that we only produce the sheets with our texture and then we sell to the world. So definitely, we would like to manage to start a bigger company with only producing the sheets and put it into the market. And then if we got the time and the group, we can definitely be also doing the architecture type of products and bars and restaurants, if we got the time for it.
One quick question. Do you cooperate with companies like Sako, or where do you get the waste, basically?
Yeah, we are cooperating with the Sako because we found out that we can get the material for free if it's contaminated, or we can buy it. So if in some production sites they mixed some materials together which are not allowed, they have to put it to they have to burn it. And we are saying, why do you have to burn it? We can melt it down in our pizza ovens and we can make awesome furniture out of it. So this is the main thing which we want to say, don't burn your plastic or
just melt it.
Just melt it down.
So Ondro, I see like a great opportunity having a co-founder who is Italian.
Yes.
So you are having a smart production from Brno with the Italian kind of design. So my question is, do you plan some collectible items? Release of some collectible items, maybe for some charities or maybe for some educational purposes, because I see like a great opportunity in this. Maybe in random, sometimes you create something which is really like beautiful, collectible.
Yeah, definitely.
Instagrammable.
We are started from this year. A lot of workshops. We made workshop for Adidas. They wanted to see how we manufacture these products. So we just put the small machine, it's big like this. We just put the shredded plastic inside, put it inside the mold, and after 10 minutes we got this cost. So we can give it to customers, or even they make it on the place in the workshop.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other question?
I would like to ask, do you have atelier or some place where we can see your products?
Yes.
Or do you plan to cooperate, for example, with Kunst or any of these kind of places for like designers, just to show products you do?
Thank you for that question, because we are already at the Kunst. We are renting the place out of it. And we got the showroom inside of the Kunst, inside of the city center. And also a lot of showrooms are our bars or restaurants we already made in Brno or Prague or in Germany. So we are making new website which will be having the realizations of our sheets products and where the customers can visit it and you can go into the restaurant and eat on this table.
Okay, if that's all, it will be also everything for this Q&A. So thank you so much, Ondřej. This was Ondřej Venclík from Plastic Guys. Well, that was our final round, and I'm still having my eyes on that slab of plastic because I wanted the table for a year and I didn't get to buy it, so yeah, maybe. At this moment, I would like to thank our experts for their valuable insights and feedback, so please one more round of applause for them. And I hope that their questions and the answer of the startups on stage will help you decide and pick the best of the bunch. Because now it's your turn to give feedback to the startups, not only during the networking parts of today's program, and I highly encourage you to approach them, talk to them, ask them more questions if you need, but also through our conference mobile application where you will pick the best startup of this pitching session. And how we will do it? Yeah, well, we have to use technology, right? It's an innovation conference, so we have to use technology. On your mobile phone, you have to have a swap card application that contains agenda of today's conference and everything you need to know about the program. If you don't have it yet on your phone, you will find QR codes on the coffee tables on the sides of this room. When you go to Velvet Innovation and you have to be registered with the email that you have registered to this conference, then you will see Velvet Innovation there. You will go to Agenda, you will find the best pitch. So in the program, you will find the best pitch. And where you go there is a live discussion button. And then you get to poll. And then in the poll, you have 5 startups that you can pick from. You will see how the points are counting on because it's a live poll, so everybody can see how all of the startups are doing. And you will have about an hour and a half, maybe, till the end of the sessions that will be next on the program. So you have enough time to make up your mind, you have enough time to maybe download the app if you don't have it yet, and to give your vote. So tell us, who do you think was best in presenting and selling their vision? Where do you see the biggest potential for a business built around sustainability? Now, it's time for me to give back the microphone to my colleague and our host today, Martina. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Hanka. A round of applause for Hanka.
Thank you.